Great song.
Your song choices have been stepping up every week.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. I liked it.
That's the influence of Fatin. Do you know this?
So her Spotify playlist.
Yeah.
Office?
So what's happened at Baker Health is one of the things, since we got bored of traditional healthcare, and we said, okay, we don't want it to smell like a doctor's office. Let's get some fancy scents. And we don't want it to sound like a doctor's office. Let's start playing like hip hop and R&B. It started with my love, which is hip hop and R&B, right? Like old school stuff that Mo and company. The problem with having a young team is you're consistently reminded how uncool and out of touch you are. So I'd be playing like edited Biggie, R&B, Mos Def, Talib Kweli, yeah.
And you don't even know.
Yeah. And all of the people that work with me who are half my age are like, what is this crap? And they're playing like mumble music. I can't understand it. I'm like, whoa. And then what's happened in the company is like, okay, so we have a certain dress code, like no white coats, no doctor coats, no scrubs. And so Katie, who a lot of people know, assumed like the fashion lead. She's got like cool tattoos. She like will get shirts for everybody and she'll like tie it and like flip it. And all of a sudden she looks like an Instagram model, right? So she's leading us on fashion and all this organic like leadership's developing. And then all of a sudden one day we open Paramus and everybody makes fun of my playlists, right?
But I think Fatin's playlist started in Edgewater.
They would creep in. They would creep in. But when she took over Paramus, then I would come to Paramus once in a while. And since she was running the show, I'd hear like EDM. I didn't know what EDM was. I thought EDM was a neurological disease that I forgot when I studied in medical school. Apparently EDM is like hit dance music.
Yeah,
like
electronic.
Yeah. And she's like, this is EDM. I'm like, do you need medicine? She's like, no, that's the song or the music. And after like a few weeks, I like really got into it. And so that is one of the Tiesto is one of the famous DJs, and that's one of his new songs.
Yeah, Z will Slack us like in our Slack channel. He'd be like, what song's playing? And we'll like send him a screenshot of the song so he adds it to his playlist.
Yeah.
You like music.
Yeah, it'll be like Sunday morning and I could tell half the team is like hungover and dragging. And I'm like, play it louder. Everybody's dragging ass. Get the music up. So thank you for the music compliment. But I've learned from Fatin on that one. Should we do housekeeping stuff? Yes. We have a yoga class, which we're going to get to, but not in the studio, in Edgewater this week.
In the studio.
And in the studio.
And in the
10 a.m. and 2:30. 10 a.m. at Paramus, 2:30 Edgewater.
Okay. So that's first time ever, 2 classes on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So that's huge. And we have capacity, although no,
Edgewater is sold out.
Edgewater sold out. How about Paramus?
There's 19 people out of 25.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Book.
So, okay. And then the prenatal class we have in
Edgewater.
And then anything else that we need to know about?
Can I share?
Yeah, share away.
We're doing the first official family yoga class next Sunday, the 17th at 11 a.m. A lot of people asked for it this week, so we're adding that for the members next Sunday.
Can you define family yoga class?
Yeah. So at first the concept was like, maybe it's just mommy and me. And then we're like, well, what about the whole family? So it can be for whomever in the family. I don't want to say there's not an age limit, but I would say probably 8 years plus.
Yeah.
So
right.
Parents can come with their kids, give them something to learn and practice and take care of them.
That's awesome. Yeah. And so with that, I want to introduce a very special guest. And I'll say a few words and then Sharon can talk about her journey and herself, and then we could get into the questions tonight. But we obviously have a concept where your relationship with your doctor and your medical home, we want it to be not about disease, not about seeing us when you're sick. That should be a small part of our relationship. We want the defining relationship you have with Baker Health as a member to be, you touch us, you talk to us, you come to us when you're healthy to stay healthy and get healthier. And once in a while when you're sick, you have to see Dr. Baker, or you have to see Dr. Audie, or you have to see Dr. Mike, or you have to see Dr. Sylvia. But we don't want it to be a traditional medical practice. And I've said this before. Everybody thinks they're doing something differently. And then when you sit or you go and you ask, they're not, right? They think they are, they say they are, but they're not. And so we're big believers that we have to walk the walk. And so we've been slowly nudging towards this. And now I'm very proud. We actually have, I was telling Mo this, I've met a couple of members recently who have not come to us as their doctor, they're members, and they've come to a mental health session, they've done a vitamin infusion, and they've gone to a yoga class, and they haven't seen us as their quote doctor yet. And that, it might sound weird, but I'm proud of that. And so now we're going to the next level. We've hired an official director of yoga and wellness. And that's, by the way, an evolving relationship and term. But in the first couple of weeks, we're off to a very fast start. And I'm really honored. I've only known Sharon for a little bit. And anybody who knows the Baker Health team, it's people who've been working together for like a long time. And so she's come in and the energy and the vibe is like she's part of the family. Diana was just here. Diana was on the IG a few weeks ago. Diana's like family. I've been through hell and back with her, and she designs all the Baker Health offices. Mo, everybody knows, he's like my little brother, but Sharon very quickly feels like part of the family. And she's added a lot of positive energy. And I think in terms of the wellness and the non-traditional trajectory we're trying to go in, we know we want to go there. I'm actually, since I'm a doctor, I can only be so non-traditional, right? My instincts and my training are somewhat traditional, but I know what I need. And so I'm surrounding myself by people who know better. And so I'm honored. We actually searched and interviewed and tried a bunch of people. I think Sharon's by far the best, so we're lucky to have her. And so with that, I'm going to let Sharon talk for a few minutes about her journey, her background, her passion. And then I know we have a lot of questions for you. Are we good, Mo? You're making weird faces behind the camera. All right.
We're good.
Go ahead.
Awesome. Okay. So before I start, I just want to say thank you for your kind words. I am equally feel really humbled to be a part of the team, and especially because you have known so much of your team for so long. So thank you. For everyone who doesn't know me out there, my name is Sharon, and I am the Director of Yoga and Wellness for Baker Health. So let's kind of backtrack before Baker Health was in the picture. I have a background in health and wellness here for about 10 plus years now. And really, before becoming a part of the team, I was running my own business with not just yoga, but a lot of people don't know, I'm also a personal trainer. For me, yoga entered my life about 10 years ago. I was living on an island in the U.S. Virgin Island, St. John. And if you've ever been to any of these small islands, they don't have too much accessibility to gyms or yoga studios. So there literally wasn't a yoga studio. I ended up going through a really hard time in my life. And when that happened, I always say yoga found me, and I turned to yoga. It was the most dedicated and consistent I have ever been with my practice. And it really it helped me through a hard time. When that happened, probably a year later, I decided that I wanted to pursue it. And so I went and I traveled the world, and I went to Florence, Italy, and I did a intensive 200-hour training and studied there for 40 days and came back to the States and decided to move to New York City from the Virgin Islands. And I just said, hey, I want to pursue this full time. I saw how much it helped me, and I knew I wanted to help others. And so I've been doing that ever since. And one of my bigger passions is leading retreats. I hope to bring that to Baker Health and the members.
For sure.
Retreats are such an intimate way to connect with humans. And something that I always do when I'm in an intimate setting with people is I like to ask, what is your superpower? And so, of course, I've had to ask myself, what is my superpower? And I think there's two things that come to mind. It's the ability to hold space for others to be themselves and to unravel or to learn and grow, and also resiliency. I've been through a lot in my life, as we all have, and the grit and resiliency to keep growing and pursuing and overcome has really been helpful. So meeting Baker Health and being a part of this team is such an honor, because the vision for me is helping as many people as possible. And when I found you, or you found me, or we found each other, it just felt very aligned. And I cannot wait to see how many people we can help collectively.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's beautiful to hear. I get goosebumps when I hear that. I know I could feel it in your voice, just like before, that you're just as dedicated and determined. And I really look forward to the day where Baker Health is defined more by Sharon and what she's doing, our mental health, and the fitness, wellness, nutrition, diet, exercise, preventative elements. Then, hey, when I'm right now, it's nice to know there's folks that will say, hey, Z or Yad or whoever helped my grandma or helped my kid when they were sick and they were really in bad shape. And that's, it's a sick thing to say, I guess, but it's a beautiful thing to hear as a doctor when you like saved a kid, or my brother saves like a grandma. At the same time, that's not what I want us to be known for. I think that's the problem with healthcare is sometimes right now, healthcare is defined by the doctor-patient relationship. We should be an addendum. We should be an ancillary. We should be there just in case. The relationship should be defined with people like you within the healthcare paradigm. And that's true healthcare, not sick care that we're giving right now. And so I'm super excited. I feel very lucky that we found you. I think our members are the luckiest. And the first few weeks, what you've been doing so far. And, like Sharon will send an email and it's like, hey, we need to do these 80 new things. And I just love the energy. Usually I'm the one in the relationship that's crazy. And so it's great to have somebody that's a little more. And can you just, before we get into the questions, can you, when you talk about retreats, I'm sure I'm not the only idiot who like, I have a picture in my head that's based off like a Netflix series that I'm sure is not like what it really is. And my wife once went with her friend to a retreat in Connecticut and came back emotionally drained. And like, they all like were in a circle, like jumping up and down. But like, can you explain to us what is a retreat? Is it like sometimes it's just one day, or is it usually a week? Is it always in Connecticut or upstate New York? Can you do it remotely? Like, is it true you don't talk? Like all these rumors in my head. Yeah.
Okay. So wait, first, did she enjoy the retreat she went on or no?
It's one of those things I couldn't tell.
Okay.
I feel like they're like not allowed to talk about it. Yeah. So.
Okay. So, well, long story short, there are so many different types of retreats out there. So I think that's the first piece of information. There are all the different lengths as well. So you can have everything from a half-day retreat to a day long to a weekend long to a week long. I have myself offered all of those, especially when the pandemic happened. I had to shift and create virtual retreats and things like that. For me personally, the retreats that I have led are focused around a reset. And so I help people reset physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And I really educate people. A lot of my education and studies has been with traditional Chinese medicine and the philosophies of Taoism and Yin Yoga. And I apply that to my retreats. So anyways, I offer reset retreats every season. So I think it's important, right? You talk about kind of holistic, proactive healthcare. I realize how important it is to take care of ourselves each season, because I don't know about you, but it came to a point in my life where I realized how much the seasons impact my life.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Like winter is really tough for me and summer is my jam, right? Like I have all the energy. I'm going to do so much more. And so I realized if we learned how to find harmony within each season with how our energy is going to be, right? Like we have no daylight right now. Vitamin D deficiency is a real thing and that's going to impact you. So I'm sidetracking. I digress. Retreats, all the lengths can be there. Do your research and your homework. It's tough because you're going to get a different thing at each type of retreat that is offered out there. So hopefully there's information on the website that explains. For me, I try to keep a balance between you're here to take care of yourself. You're also here to like give yourself, I call it an adult vacation getaway with like your new best friends, right? You're going to start as strangers and literally leave as family. For me anyways, that's what I provide. And it's pretty special. It's transformative for people's lives.
And what do you, like, you're obviously doing some yoga. You're not doing yoga for 9 hours, right?
No. So
And
yeah, again, like there are silent retreats. They're called Vipassanas.
Then you don't leave as best friends though, right?
Then you
can't
leave
talk.
as like, you just went through some deep stuff. I don't know if I can swear on here.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
sure.
yeah, the silent retreats. I mean, some people don't last a full day. Like you can't even.
Oh, I couldn't make it. Yeah.
And like you eat vegetarian and whatever. Like that's aside the point. But
I don't show up and I love steak. I have no chance.
you're done.
Yeah. Cook.
No. But so a general daily layout, let me just share real quick for what I would offer is we start the morning with a more vigorous vinyasa yoga style practice for all levels. And then we have breakfast. And then we'll do an activity like a hike or something, get in nature, depending on the time of year. And then come back, you have lunch. You'll have some downtime. I do like a signature workshop that is more like talking, going through whatever the theme is of the retreat, of the weekend, of the season, and then chill out. Maybe there's a fire at night. People can have wine. Like I'm like, you're here to also enjoy yourself. So some people are really strict. We bring in a private chef and someone to take care of you. So
That sounds awesome. Yeah, that does sound like an adult vacation. Like,
yeah, basically you don't have to do a single thing once you decide you want to go.
Yeah.
Like when was the last time you were fully taken care of and didn't have to think about what you're eating, when you're eating, what the logistics are, how you're planning, like it's all set. And you're just in a beautiful space too. Like I care about the aesthetics. So
very nice.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we do that. That's
I
going to
know.
be awesome.
Same.
First retreat going to be?
I don't know. We soon.
Can we go big?
Of course.
Like international?
Yeah.
I'm teasing, but
Should we get into questions?
Yeah, we have a bunch. I think we should go for the first one that everyone asked. They want to know if you do yoga.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think you know this. So
Everyone
was-
who played basketball with us 2 years ago knows.
correct.
Yeah.
There was like a year where I did yoga very intensely. Like I was doing yoga three to four times a week. I would do yoga first thing in the morning. And I absolutely fell in love with it. Like I remember the first time Miriam sent a picture of me in like one of my poses to Iad, and he was like, thought it was a joke. Like I was like, and then like a month later, he like saw me like get limber, and he saw me like with better posture, and he saw me more centered physically and mentally. He's like, holy shit, this yoga thing is good for you. He actually texted the yoga instructor. He's like, thanks for fixing my brother. She showed me the text one day. And it was incredible. I felt great. I really felt great. And yoga is one of those things, an idiot like me, until I did it, you couldn't, it's hard to explain. Even now, having done it, so I did it for a year and then I started working. And of course, I haven't done it in over a year now, right? I'm definitely going to come to the studio. I'm definitely going to start up again for sure.
I've been meaning to talk to him about this. I'm going to
coming.
make it a point in your schedule to carve out whatever
coming.
time frame, even with just me.
No, I love
yourself.
it. I'm going to come. Would you come with me?
I'd come.
Okay, then I'll definitely do it. I need you. Okay. But
I've never done a yoga class.
so we do it together, dude. If I
Okay.
can do it, anybody can do it.
All right.
You can all do it.
But it was incredible. I mean, by the way, you said you're a person. It wasn't very different. There's different features than when you're working out regularly, like the physical release. The difference with yoga, I felt, was like the mental clarity. Because in between the physical stuff is some mental stuff. And there's also something to be said to be doing it with others, right? Because when you go to the gym, you're not working out with 9 other people doing the same thing at the same time. There's a collective energy that happens. It's hard to. I'm not being effective. I absolutely loved it, and I loved it, and I can't wait to get back into it. Next question.
Yeah. Next question. Question is for Sharon. In your experience, how does yoga support stress reduction and management? And what does this have on one's health?
Yeah, so yoga is huge. I think we've all heard it, but yoga is huge for stress reduction and management. Just when you set aside time for yourself to do any kind of movement, it doesn't even have to be yoga, you're going to reduce your anxiety, your stress responses tremendously. I think the bigger piece, though, is in time when you are doing yoga, you're moving and you're breathing and you're pairing that all together. So you just learn better tools to help yourself when you're off of your mat. I think that answers it.
Nice. Next question someone asked, can you talk about the different types of yoga? I'm trying to join a class and I see like 3 different types. Can you give a little bit more of a detail?
Can you walk through that? Because
Yeah.
I know people who do yoga regularly, And literally they've done it for 2 years and they've only done one type because they're intimidated or unaware of different types. They're like, I like this one, so I'm going to stay. But I always see these others.
Yeah. There's a lot of different styles of yoga. And I don't know if this person should come and take our yoga. Right now, we don't have the different types of yoga on the schedule listed. So come take our class. But what we will offer, and I can talk about these styles, the main one that we're offering right now is Vinyasa yoga. That is just traditionally a yoga style that you see all over in this region. So it's where we pair the breath to the movement and you move more fluidly. It's continuous, so there's less downtime and you might hold for a breath or two in each pose, but definitely more dynamic. Another style that we will offer is yin yoga, and that's going to be, so there's something called yin and yang, right? It's like the two opposites that you need to create the full picture. Vinyasa is going to be the yang style class, and yin yoga is going to be the yin style class. So yin yoga is where you go into poses and you hold longer. And what that does is it helps get into the layers beneath your muscular system. So sorry. So basically when we're working out or doing vinyasa yoga, we're first and foremost working our muscular system. But when we do yin yoga and you stay for over 120 seconds, you go to your fascia, your connective tissue, and you help stretch at a deeper level. And that is really important because we don't often do that. And we need that to create. So it's like starting a practice with a really tight rubber band, like brand new, and ending it with like the elasticity to move and be more mobile and flexible. So that's yin yoga. It's harder because you do less poses, you're holding the poses. And so I think it becomes more mindset and a meditative practice because people don't like to sit still and it's really challenging. So vinyasa, yin. Another one is Katona yoga. This is something that I weave into a practice that I teach, and another teacher, Jeffrey, who's with us, is going to teach it as well a bit. It's more about kind of form and function and metaphors. How do you describe to somebody how to do a pose and help them understand it in a different way? Like come into a tabletop position and think about the foundation of a house in your table. Like that might sound foreign to you, but in that style of practice, you learn to think differently about your body. And it's really powerful in my opinion. Okay. And then we'll just have like
Is hot yoga beneficial or is it a fad?
hot yoga is a very personal subject, I feel like, because it really depends on the person. I think that the type of heat matters. There's infrared heat or just, I don't know what it's called when it's just like pumped out of the vent. That's like dry heat. Infrared is better because infrared is good for you. But I don't think hot yoga is fully necessary. Your body is going to get warm when you do yoga. You do not need to put yourself in a 100-degree room to get warm. Just give yourself 5 minutes of getting in your body and you'll be warm. So I'm not a huge hot yoga fan. Sorry, guys. What actually happens when you go into hot yoga is often you are hot from the hot class. And before you're fully warmed up, you might hurt yourself and injure yourself because you're not actually warm in your body and in your muscles. So I'm a little like, I'm going to stay neutral on it, but I'm not the biggest fan.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Someone had a question regarding yin yoga. They asked, can this type of yoga assist with pelvic floor pain as a recent postpartum mom?
Yes and no. You're going to want more specific things. I think any yoga is going to be beneficial, but you would want to focus on specifically strengthening and doing things for your pelvic floor and core work. So what would be better than yin yoga is breath work.
Nice.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah. And
Because
so
terms like that, what I usually do is I just nod and pretend I know exactly what you mean. But breath work to me, I'm like, I'm breathing right now.
yeah.
My
So
breath working now?
that's the tough
And I know
part.
I'm not. I'm just asking. Well,
Right.
Explain. Like when you say breath work to somebody who just had a C-section or baby or whatever, what do you mean?
Yeah.
What are like things she could do at home tonight?
Totally. So pre and postnatal breath work is huge because you want to build core strength and pelvic floor strength before the baby because you're putting all that pressure on your body. And then post, you're so weak because you just put all that pressure on your body for 9 months building a baby, creating life. Breath work is the most powerful tool that every single person should do out there. Meaning what happens in our daily life is that we're just like shallow breathing. We're just getting by, right? Like you don't notice it, how beautiful. Our breath keeps us alive and we don't even have to think about it. But it's kind of shallow and maybe even non-existent unless you're stressed and then it's heightened. So awareness of breath would be like the first understanding. Having awareness of how you're breathing. Where do you breathe? Are you breathing in your diaphragm, in your lower belly, or are you breathing in your chest, in your shoulders? Chances are a lot of us breathe here. Notice in the winter when we're walking outside, we're like this. And so that is not good. So when we start to lengthen the breath, we control our central nervous system, which is hugely important to reduce stress. And also anytime you're intentionally breathing, every exhale, every breath becomes core work. If you're doing it properly, you're never not working your core. Not that you're going to do that 24 hours a day, but if you just spend 1 minute doing a breath in fully through your nose, and on the breath out, think about contracting your core and pressing the breath all the way down and out, and then you're going to get the pelvic floor work and the core work and control your central nervous system and relax it as well. Sorry if that was dragged out.
No, that's exactly,
that's helpful.
I think that's what people want to know is what it exactly means. I thought that was awesome. Very
Yeah, I didn't know what breath work was until.
There's lots of types of breath work as well, but.
Someone wants to know, is there a best time of the day to do yoga?
The best time of the day is whatever the best time of the day is for you. Whatever's going to get you to show up on your mat.
Nice. Question for Sharon. Sharon, can you talk about your general philosophy regarding yoga? What's the best way to incorporate it into one's life?
So I always say that you have to first and foremost enjoy what you're going to do. But if you've never done it, then you have to try it in order to understand if you like it. And so give something a try and try it long enough to understand if it's for you or not. Maybe yoga isn't for you. It won't be for everyone. Philosophy for me, though, is really helping people more than just physically. For me, yoga is so much more than the physical practice. And I won't lie, it started as purely physical, meaning the poses and the shapes. But for me, it's helping people realize the connection between our mind, our body, and then even like our spirit and our heart. So giving people the ability to see beyond just the physical practice is a philosophy that I care about.
So Sharon, on that point, like earlier, that's what I was trying to explain and I'm not good at it. Like I look back to when I was doing yoga like every other day and I loved it and I felt better. And I honestly, I mean, people are going to be like, dude, shut up. But I honestly feel the people in my life liked me more. I was better. I was a better person to them and I was better as a person to myself. And if you ask me now, wow, that sounds awesome. Why, how? I would stutter. Like I can't explain. And so when you say what you just said, which sounds beautiful, it's like, and I know it's true because I was there, but if someone's like, well, how does yoga do that? How does yoga connect you physically, mentally, spiritually? How does it make you feel stronger internally and externally, mentally, physically, spiritually? Can you explain how yoga does that?
I can try. I think everyone has their own journey. So a part of it does just come down to you. And so when I hold space for people, I always, not always, but I try to ask them to have an open mind. If that's like the one thing they do is have an open mind, then that's key, because a lot of the times people as a whole, myself included, go into any given situation with a preconceived notion of what they expect it to be. And when we have an expectation, we literally, once we set an expectation, we set ourselves up for failure, essentially, because as soon as it doesn't happen to however we wanted it to, we're going to be upset. So long story short, it really depends on the person to kind of get themselves there. Every journey, every person is different. But I would say it starts on the inside and then it reflects on the outside. So I can refer it to like just filling your own cup first and knowing that you're taking the time for you. And just like you said, when you took care of you first and you got into yoga, you then had so much more energy, love, capacity to take on all of the other things, stressors, family, whatever in life.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It makes sense. Yeah, for sure.
Next question. Someone asked, I've never done yoga before and have been hearing about it for years. What if there's people who have a lot of experience in the class and I'm an amateur/beginner? Should I still come to the class?
Just make sure you come to the one I'm at.
Yes. Yes, please come. We're going to have yoga for beginners as well. So we'll have specific classes for that. But until then, you should definitely come. The classes are all levels and there are always going to be modifications offered. So you are welcome. Please don't let that veer you away. It's a safe, supportive space.
Nice. Next question. This is a good one. Someone asked, yoga is often associated with improved flexibility and strength. How do these physical benefits contribute to an individual's overall health and functionality?
Yeah, when you have better range of motion, strength, flexibility, obviously that's helping you become a healthier person. So if you're taking care of yourself in any form of movement, you're going to feel better and have just more longevity in your life. So I feel like I don't fully get the question there, but it's all beneficial and helpful.
Nice. For Z, considering your expertise in healthcare, how can medical professionals and yoga instructors collaborate to promote holistic well-being for patients?
You're doing it.
Yeah, I think we're doing it. But I think, how did medical professionals? I think the problem we have, first of all, I think most folks look at them as different things. They're like, this is the doctor, this is the yoga person. And I think they just, the fundamental, like many things, like the fundamental, like you talked about preconceived notions, the fundamental premise is obviously they're two different things, right? This is where you go when you're sick. This is where you go to get a physical. This one has health insurance. And this is where you go when you want to be kind of spiritual and understanding. They look at them as two different things fundamentally. That's most people. Then you have something that I almost think is like worse, where they start to go down the path of collaboration, but they're going in the opposite direction of the right direction, which is you'll see these like hospitals that have like yoga classes. And what's happening is it's like, okay, there's people who want to do yoga classes out there. Why don't we have them like in our basement in the hospital or whatever, so that we can say that we're having yoga classes and it'll attract awareness and blah, 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 blah. And I think where nirvana is where they're seen as, and I think people might be confused by what I'm about to say, they're seen as exactly the same thing. Okay. And so I honestly now I'm at a point where I think of Sharon as a healthcare provider. I think of myself as a healthcare provider. I think if your healthcare is this, right? I'm super healthy. I need to stay super healthy. Kind of healthy. I want to make sure I continue to stay healthy. I went through an injury. I have surgery and I need to repair my shoulder. In all of those, I have a role and Sharon has a role on your entire healthcare journey. Here, where you're super healthy and you want to stay super healthy, you should probably be doing something like yoga, 2-3 times a week, 4 times, whatever it is, working out, running. And you should see the doctor once in a while to make sure that there's no surprises and nothing's going wrong. And we discuss your nutrition and keeping you that way. And then that time you do hurt yourself and you need shoulder surgery, you're probably going to see a guy like me, like a lot more intensely. And you're still going to work your way back into yoga. And the yoga stuff is going to be part of that healing process until you get back here. We're both healthcare providers. And I'll go a step further. I think that the members I'd be most proud of are the ones that say, we've been with Baker Health for 10 years. And I know Sharon really well. And I met Dr. Baker a few times. That's how I look at it, where it shouldn't be, hey, we're really cool because we also offer yoga. I mean, that's fine. And what I'm excited to do right now, we're just getting our swimming legs. What I'm excited is where there's actual like full-fledged, like we have a program where you got a knee replacement. You love doing yoga, right? You've done yoga for the past 15 years. You're 63 years old. You got a knee replacement. How can you get back into doing yoga? So the way we have a beginner's class, like the way Sharon was talking about it, or the family class that's coming up, we have, hey, I just had a procedure class and it's customized to that and it helps you on that journey. And so I think there has to be a complete paradigm shift where it's not like, how do you incorporate it? It is it. It is like the way you come in for a physical, you should be coming in for your fitness. You should be going for walks. You should be doing yoga. You should be getting mental health check-ins. It shouldn't be how do we figure out how to. It's actually unbelievable to me that they're not thought of the same, and that's a testament to how shitty the healthcare system is, that they've siloed them. And the reason, whether we know this or not, the reason subconsciously we think of them differently is because while we think of yoga as a healthy exercise, we inherently think of seeing the doctor in healthcare as only when you're sick. So that tells you everything you need to know.
Agreed. Next question for Sharon. Can you explain the connection between yoga and mental health and how it may complement traditional healthcare approaches?
Yeah. Well, I think like Dr. Baker was saying, having the two, right, like yoga and physical movement and all the things that we're going to offer along with the healthcare that they provide when you need it is important. But yoga as a whole is going to help you reduce your stress, reduce your anxiety. It's going to help you feel better in your body, build confidence. It's going to help you create blood flow and circulation. And so all of these things that are going to impact your physical body, but then also your mindset. And the mindset is such a big piece, right? So like the mental aspect. Yeah.
Cool. First, the question is, how have you seen yoga play a role in preventative healthcare? And what recommendations do you have for incorporating it into someone's wellness routine?
I mean, I feel like we kind of covered this. I think how you would incorporate it into like, if this is John or Cindy asking, is just get started. Because how I would recommend it for you might be once a week. It might be 4 times a week. Like, dude, my wife's mother, my mother-in-law, and you know much I love.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She's like one of the best people in the world, right?
Yeah.
She's like your mom,
Yeah.
right? Like my mom, like she's the best. She's from Florida. She moves up here. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, the focus of her life, she's like 65, 60, whatever, however old she is. All of a sudden, the focus of her life overnight, 5 days a week, pickleball at the JCC. Like
Pickleball is a thing now.
Sharon, signing up for
older folks.
tournaments. They're like trading players. We're like, hey, do you want to, after Thanksgiving that Friday, right? We're all going to get together again and this, that. She's like, no, I got a pickleball thing. Sorry. I can't see the grandkids. And like, so I wouldn't have imagined that,
Me neither.
but she's so happy and healthy. This is the next version of her. And she, by the way, when I was doing yoga, she would come with me once a week.
Really?
Yeah, because it was in downtown Tenafly. I'd grab her. She lives in Tenafly, and we'd go downtown. And so I couldn't have predicted that. And she's super healthy and happy, right? I'm an extreme kind of guy. Like if I'm into something, I do it a lot. So I think how you incorporate it into one's life depends on you. I would say the only universal piece of advice I would give is at least try it, get into it, start it, and then you'll find your own path. And make your health and preventative care, whatever you want to call it, a priority. Whatever iteration that is, whether it's just walking every day, you try yoga, you don't like it, walk every day. You're huge into the gym and fitness, great. But just moving and prioritizing your wellness instead of waiting to get sick when it's too late. You see a guy like me and then,
Nice. One of our members, assuming missed earlier, the question was, will yoga be available to our children? If we could just go over that again.
Yes. We heard the request and we are here to answer them. We're doing our first family yoga class next Sunday, the 17th at 11 a.m. in Paramus. And in January, we will roll out a more consistent offering of that. We're kind of finalizing that, but sign up on the 17th, 11 a.m.
Nice. Someone had a suggestion. They said, I suggest Baker Health provides spiritual and inspirational sessions for kids and teenagers. I believe educating and working on kids' spirit is as important as working on their physical education.
100%. I mean, I agree. I would want to be educated on that. So whoever said that, if they have more specifics, I agree with that. I'm not a spiritual expert. I would like, do we have a speaker series? Do we bring in inspirational, wise speakers once a month and invite all Baker Health teenagers once a month to one of our locations to hear, like somebody who's inspirational speak, great. Let's do it. Or is there more specifics? I would like to learn from whoever gave that advice, and we're down to do it.
Cool. For Z, I think this is like the worst time of the year for kids. Doc, had parent teacher conferences last night for our kid, and it was all over the place. A couple of his teachers said he was solid. A couple said not so much. He's in the 9th grade. How much value to put against? How much do we put against in teacher biases? And I noticed they make a lot of remarks on personality traits, not just academic performance. Just actually very confused. Any general advice?
Okay. I earlier today I went to one of my kids' parent teachers conference. So about 3 hours ago, I met with like one of my kids' teachers. So I can understand what you're saying. The very first thing I want to say, because I've seen this happen during the course of my career. My mom was a teacher. She was like a grade school teacher, my mom. And we've all had many teachers. Teachers are by and large awesome and incredible people. I always say this. Heaven like has a very special section for nurses and teachers. Okay. I think 99% of teachers are trying to do the right thing and are very self-sacrificing and spend their time helping you raise your own kid. And I think you should remember that. When I was a kid, if a teacher ever emailed my parent, there was no email, but if she ever called my parent and said I did something wrong, there was no debate over who's right or wrong. There was no like, oh, let me get Ziad's side of the story. I came home, the belt was out, right? The ship was flying. You know what I mean? And game on. These days, if a teacher dares tell a parent that their kid might have spoken out of turn, done something wrong, the reaction of the parent is to attack the teacher and blindly defend their kid. I just want to say something as a pediatrician who loves kids and takes care of kids for a living, and I believe I'm a huge advocate of children's well-being. You're doing your child a huge disservice by presuming the teacher has some ulterior motive on one side of the equation. On the other side of the equation, you're teaching your child the wrong lessons. You're teaching them not to respect authority. You're teaching your child that if you do something wrong, it's still always right. No, some things you did are wrong. Wrong is wrong. And if your kid wasn't wrong sometimes, your kid wouldn't be a freaking kid. And so let me put that out there because I cannot tell you how many times I get parents coming in and they're like, here, Dr. Baker, here's what his 3rd grade teacher said. Can you sign that it's not true? I'm like, dude, the teacher probably spends more time with your kid than you do. I know my teachers do. My kids as teachers know my kid as well as I do or better, right? I know my kid pretty well and I bring something to the table, but they sure as hell do too. You should be very respectful and humble before the teachers that are involved in your kid's life. They do a lot of sacrifice. They're very underappreciated. Of course, now I'm going to get some like bullshit. Of course, we all had that teacher that like sucked, but we all have a lot more teachers who are responsible for the positive features of our personalities as grown men and women. And so let me begin by saying that before I get into the parent-teacher stuff. Now, I do see sometimes what happens when you go to the parent-teacher stuff and people are giving you feedback on your kids. There's a lot of compare and contrast. There's a lot of anecdotal stuff. I think the best advice I could give you is take it all in, go have an honest conversation with your kid, and then just advise them on how to improve. Don't be one of those parents who brushes everything off and excuses it off. Because even if that's how you think your kid is, the rest of the world doesn't see it that way, and your kid is going to live with the rest of the world, not with you, for the rest of their lives. And so I would take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes I think how you say things is more important than what you say. If your kid's having a bad semester or bad whatever class, you don't want to come home and come down on them. You want to be able to frame it in a way where it leads to positive momentum. But the takeaway is don't out of hand dismiss what the teachers are saying. It might be confusing and you should ask for follow-ups. The other thing I find that's helpful is when the teachers give you feedback, you should then check in with the teachers on behalf of your kid on a monthly basis or something. Say, hey, Mrs. Smith, I know you told me Samantha wasn't good at this. I've spent the past 4 weekends helping her with the reading and writing. Has there been improvement? One, you're going to help your kid. Two, that teacher is going to know you're vested. You're going to open lines of communication. And when's the last time there was an issue where open lines of communication didn't improve that issue?
Nice. Someone asked, do you give the same advices from coaches' feedbacks as well as teachers?
Coaches get even a bigger blank check from me. Coaches like, I think I'm too old school. Like, you know, when I see coaches losing their mind on the sideline, I'm like, I love that guy. Because everything I just said with teachers not only applies to coaches, when you're stepping into that, hey, every kid, competitive or not, signed up or not, has to go to school. Every kid. When you sign up for the football team or the basketball team, you're opting in and you're saying, I want to be part of a competitive endeavor where there's losers and winners. When you opt into that, you're going to be pushed at another level. And in the end, when you sign up your kid for basketball or you sign up your daughter for soccer, why are you signing them up? There's the 1% of parents who are crazy and delusional and losing their mind on the sideline, and they're living vicariously through their kid who they think is going to go to Duke and start, and they're yelling at the referee in some suburban town in Ridgewood. Newsflash, it's probably not going to work out that way, and you're making a fool of yourself. But what you're really signing your kid up for is to teach them, instill the values of hard work, ethic, teamwork, collaboration. And at the top of the list, in my opinion, is coachability. Coachability is something we don't talk about in society. The ability to listen, focus, and understand from somebody who's older and wiser is one of the most important things in this world. And for some reason now, we tell our kids, hey, you're mature, you're your own person, you know better. No, not always. You have a lot of living and learning to do. And coachability is one of the most important things you can instill in your child. That's the doorway to growth, is coachability. And if you shut that door, you can't expect your child to grow.
Yeah, my football coach always used to say he'd rather play the most coachable kid on the team rather than the most talented kid on the team. Good point. Next question for Sharon. What advice do you have for someone who is new to yoga and looking to integrate it in their health regimen for specific health concerns?
I feel like we briefly spoke about if you're new to yoga. Dr. Baker spoke on it. I spoke on it to just start. Okay, I think that's the first thing. You just don't know unless you try. So begin. If you have something specific going on, then I would say talk to whomever. If you have somebody, right? Like talk to your doctor. If Dr. Baker's your doctor, talk to me if you're coming to a class and share some information so that we can best support you on whatever your journey is.
Nice. Someone just wanted to say they did one of our infusions for the first time, our Baker Health cocktail, and they said they haven't felt so good a month to keep doing what we're doing.
Thank you.
Next question for Z. Can you talk about why you think yoga is important from your health perspective?
I mean, I feel like you got to do a better job of filtering these questions. I mean, like I told you, the best I felt in my life, I was doing yoga. I was doing other stuff. I was walking and running regularly. And that was like a couple of years ago. And yoga was the cornerstone of it. And I don't know, that personal bias probably influenced why I wanted to collaborate with Sharon and do this thing at Baker Health. But I guess that's what everything we do is. It's personal experience, and then it manifests in your business or your life work. And I'm optimistic, and I believe with Sharon's leadership that a big part of how Baker Health is viewed by its members is going to be yoga, wellness, more than, hey, they have great doctors.
Nice. For Sharon, someone asked, how does the philosophy of mindfulness and yoga tie into the mental and emotional well-being? And how can it be applied to healthcare and daily life context?
I feel like we kind of spoke on this one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's all interwoven, right? Like it's like trying to do one piece of the puzzle. It all connects. So with yoga, you're practicing in your physical body, but you're also doing the breath work and you're working on your mindset without even realizing it. And so putting those pieces together are going to help you be healthier and have that longevity. You know, I don't know, does that answer it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Someone asked, they said, hey, I have 3 kids and I've been really wanting to join a yoga session. Any chance that you guys are doing virtual classes soon?
We're discussing that. We're discussing the best way to do the virtual classes. So I would say that the short answer is like very likely in the next 2 to 3 months, we'll start virtual classes. We need to do it in a thoughtful, elegant way. Yes, we're going to do it. So stay tuned.
That's all the yoga questions I have. I have a couple other questions. Someone asked, who do you think's winning the in-season tournament? I mean, it's been crazy. I think this is like the best thing.
It's good. And by the way, I thought it was stupid.
At first, me too.
It's the Lakers in the West right now.
Lakers and Pelicans, and then the Bucks
Indiana.
and Indiana.
Yeah, give me the Lakers.
Lakers all the way.
Yeah, pains me to say it.
You don't think I saw something on Twitter. They said Dame is the king of winning Mickey Mouse.
It could be Dame.
I think it
It could be the Bucks.
Yeah.
It could be the Bucks. And by the way, nobody should talk crap about Dame. He's an animal.
Besides that, I don't have any other questions. Yeah, I think that's it for tonight.
That was awesome.
Wait, can I touch on a couple things?
Yeah,
I saw
go
a
ahead,
couple of people left comments on the post. Somebody asked about, I don't
You got to
remember.
teach me how to check comments.
I'll show you after this.
Yeah. Sorry.
I only just remember what one of them was, though. There was like 3 comments. But a guy or somebody asked about athletic greens. Have you ever heard of this? It's called AG1.
On Joe Rogan's podcast
Yeah.
advertisement.
Yeah.
And
He
they were
always
just-
raves about it.
Yeah. So somebody was asking about it. I mean, I don't know. Just I know a little bit, but
I know zero.
I have taken it. But, I would say I don't have the knowledge too much about the vitamin infusions yet, but I would have to say it's equally, if not, it's comparable to doing the vitamin infusions that Baker Health is offering. But the athletic greens is called AG1. It's good. It's a supplement, essentially. It's a powder. You put it in your water in the morning, you mix it, and it's supposed to supplement your nutrients for the day. Like say, sometimes first and foremost, you want to get all of your nutrients from food, if ideally, but that doesn't always happen. And sometimes our body doesn't absorb all of the nutrients. So the athletic greens is a good supplemental thing to take. And it also apparently has like probiotic, prebiotic, things for your gut health. So it helps with immunity and all of that. So I think it's a good thing to take. Or the vitamin infusion.
Someone asked, because we got on this topic, what do you think of Dana White's 96-hour water fast? Did you hear about that?
I heard about it. Yeah. Someone, I think, I don't know who sent me a clip. Probably, sent me a clip of him doing this interview recently on the Nelk Boys, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks great.
Yeah.
He looks like he looks 20 years younger. And he was talking about how he got like fit, and he mentioned some fasting stuff. I don't know. Intermittent fasting, water fasting, these things. I feel like, there's probably a place for them. I mean, we all eat too much and drink too much. I know that. And so I think when we say fasting, we get a little dramatic about it. And we're like, no, your body needs nutrition. It does, but not if it's getting over nutrition. And if you recalibrate to normal nutrition, but we label it as fasting. So I think there's semantics that blurs the picture. If someone does a 3-day water fast or whatever the hell, and they feel better and look better, God bless.
Go ahead, do it, right? Yeah. All right, that's all I have for tonight. You have something, Hans?
Yeah, actually, Sharon, just circling back on that. About acupuncture, so one of the comments where.
Can people hear Hans? That's
No, here you go.
Hi guys. So one of the comments were, would you guys consider adding acupuncture to your practice?
So, okay, are they asking if we would add it to what we offer or if, okay. That's a
I don't
Dr.
know.
Baker.
Do you have experience with acupuncture?
So I think that is something that could be as we build out in time. I have experience with acupuncture. I believe in it. I love it. I think it's really beneficial at a subtle level. I think it would be something that we can do as like an add-on, perhaps.
Okay.
Not all the time.
Only to learn and explore.
Yeah.
I don't have much experience with it. I have to study it a lot more closely.
Yeah.
So that's a wrap.
Yeah.
So I want to thank Sharon. I'm sure everybody now knows why we're so excited to have her part of the Baker Health team.
Yeah.
This was amazing, outstanding.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to get going with you. I hope all the members and the audience enjoyed this and learned a lot. And we're going to have Sharon on a lot more. So we'll see a lot of you this weekend we have 2 yoga classes this weekend.
And we'll confirm. But yeah.
All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.